What's up, y'all? It's your boy Brian Ash, aka the Handsome Fister. Um, I remember a couple weeks ago. You guys remember a couple weeks ago? I did the video called "Depression," Part One, where I went into postpartum depression and like my causes for the things that I think cause depression in people, and one is like a life altering event. Um, Two is like loss of somebody you love, um, whether they, left or if they passed away. And the last is nothing, just nothing. And the feelings of nothingness, if you want to say that. So, which that one's going to be really, really, really difficult for me to go through. But today, um, part two is also it's going to tie in with the first one, which was a life altering event. Um, so I'm going to get very, very deep and personal into my life with this one. So bear with me because this one's going to be a little difficult for me to do. To be completely honest, I'm just being honest up front. But I need to say it. It needs to be said. And if you guys don't want to know about me or don't give a shit, just turn the video off. I'm okay with that. I'm cool. I'm cool. Um, so a life altering event. So when I was a kid, um, we'll say preteen, teenage I was well, my son looks like me when I was a kid. So people would say, oh, look how cute he is. Oh, look, he's gonna be such a handsome man. He's gonna be, oh my God. And so I took advantage of that. Like I ain't even gonna lie, I took advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? The way that I looked and the way people perceived me, I really took advantage of when I was a kid. And then when I was like, maybe 12, 13, 14 years old, one of those, I was diagnosed with a juvenile angiofibroma. In layman's terms, or in uh, normal people terms, it was a, excuse me, a vascular tumor that started to grow at the base of my skull. The base of your skull's in the back. Base of your skull in the back. It was inside the skull, and it grew so large that like it took out my sinus cavities and partially my cheekbone. So um, I had probably 9 or 10 operations, two serious ones, and then some radiation treatment at the end to because they couldn't get it all, and I'll get to that in a second. They couldn't get to all of it, so um, I said it was vascular, which means that my veins fed it and made it grow and gave it life, like my body gave it life. So as they were before the last major one, they were going through the they used to do this thing. They used to stick, and I didn't even count these in the surgery, but they used to stick a catheter in my groin, and they would go up and they would cut off the blood supply to it. But they couldn't to two. That's where the radiation came in. They couldn't to two spots that fed it because one of the veins that fed it controlled all my facial emotions. So like if they would have tied that blood supply off, I wouldn't be able to smile. I wouldn't be able to show any expression, and my face would pretty much be paralyzed like that. And the other one was one of the main veins that feed your brain. So obviously they couldn't. take that one off because then I'd be a lot stupider than I am now. I know you guys are gonna kick out of that. So then after that they radiated it to kill all of the living cells around it so it wouldn't grow. Yeah, sounds crazy, doesn't it? So anyway, um, going back to one of my biggest securities in life, which was the way that I looked and the way that the way that I was about to change drastically. So after the first operation where they cut me right here, as you can see that scar right there, cut me right there. Um, that one didn't bother me that much. So I was still able to do it wasn't insecure about it then. And then as it got serious, and they started to like cut me here and here, and then they cut me all the way around here, and, opened my jaw in half, cut the roof of my mouth out, put the little dinger there. That was the last one. It had my insecurities went crazy because three things. So one, my face looked like Quasimodo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. All swollen, eyes sagging, you know, just ugly, and the big dent in my head, and so that was one, and two, I was in decent shape. Not, I wouldn't say great shape, but uh, my senior year of high school, I lost like almost 100 pounds. When I graduated high school, I weighed between 119 and 129 pounds. Like I was really legitimately nothing but skin and bones. And the way that people around me acted towards me, um, really, I mean, granted, I ain't even gonna lie, I took advantage of the shit. You know what I'm saying? The poor me, the poor Fister, poor Brian. I took advantage of it, but deep down, like underneath, like I felt like I was always going to be alone because I didn't think I was going to be good enough anymore for somebody. I didn't think people would find me attractive anymore. And I still struggle with that today. Like, if people, like feed me compliments, sometimes it's hard for me to deal with because, deep down, like I don't look the same, right? I'm not, I grow basically a beard to hide the scars, and I love my beard. Don't get me wrong. I'll never cut the beard, but like I hid. You know what I'm saying? Like I hid inside of myself, which was a scary thing because A, I felt like I was gonna be alone. B, I never felt like I'd be good enough anymore. Three, I never thought I'd be attractive enough anymore. And four, I felt handicapped. Because I had barely any vision in my right eye. I have some, but barely. So I felt that people would look at me different for my whole life, and that sent me into a spiral that like I don't even think people understood how I felt, because it's kind of funny. My last depression video that I made, my mom was like, I didn't even know I didn't know you struggle with depression. Like, are you serious? Like, she didn't know that I was going through some shit because I became so good at hiding it. Because I didn't want people to, oh, poor Brian. Oh my God. Not only is he dealing with that, but he's also dealing with, oh, he feels sad because or I didn't want people to be like, well, fuck that guy. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck what he looks like? Fuck him. Like, why does he give a fuck what he looks like? Like, who the fuck is he? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, so I hit it, and I dealt with it, and I still do at times because, like I said, there's times where people will say nice things to me or nice things about me, at work, or um, you know, parents, or women will compliment me, and relationships that I've had, and and I ruined a lot of relationships because I didn't think I was good enough. And if people were also commenting on the women that I was dating or whatever, like I felt really insecure about that because in my mind I didn't think I was good enough. Like I couldn't measure up because I was ugly now. Like in my mind I was ugly. So that made me very depressed, and I struggled with that for a very long time. And there was a lot of good relationships that I ruined because of my insecurities. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my insecurities and my depression ruined that because I would purposely try to put myself down when people were trying to bring me up because I didn't think I was worth it. I didn't think I deserved it because A, I was ugly, B, I was a little handicapped with my eye, and you know when I was young, when I was like 19, 20, when like 17, 18, 19, 20, when all my buddies were in the gym all buff and shit, I was like 120 pounds soaking wet. Like I wish I could find that picture from my oldest brother's wedding that I was the best man of. I looked like a bobblehead. Like my head was all swollen Quasimodo style, right? And there was nothing to me except for bone and skin. So, and 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 I was so nervous to stand up at his wedding because I still had bruising on my face. My eye was sagging more than it does now, and so I was nervous, not nervous in the fact that oh, got to give a speech or nothing because I just spoke from the heart. It's my brother, he's my best friend, right? Like he taught me about life, he taught me about women, he taught me how to play baseball. You know what I'm saying? So like it, it wasn't about the telling everybody how happy I was for my brother and how much I loved my brother and that it was me at like 130 pounds standing up in front of probably 200 people and 100 of which I had never met before in my life, looking like a bobblehead. And I struggled with it, and I was nervous, and I pulled it off. I mean, I put on, a face, you know, let's go. Put on a face, and I was like, I was the charismatic, you know, Brian that everybody knew. And I did it for my brother, but deep inside, like, I dreaded it, and I dreaded doing it. And, but I would never not do something for my brother. You know what I'm saying? So I struggled with that for a long time. And then, so ruining relationships um, caused me to dive into my work because it was something that I was good at, that nobody judged you unless you fucked up, and they didn't care what you said, did, looked like, as long as you did your job and did it well. So, and I excelled at that. So when I excelled at that, that's all I thought about. Like, I'd never turn down overtime. I tried to show up early. I did that, and another thing that helped me cope was music, making music because it's fucking like it's a story to tell in rap, and also that doesn't matter what you look like back then. Back when I was rapping in the late '90s, early 2000s, into 2010, 11, 12, like there wasn't like these pretty boy rappers back then, and if there and when there was, it wasn't a big deal, because it was all about the music and it was all about the bars, right? Like it wasn't about fashion. Granted, you had to have some, you had to have a chain, you had to have, Tim's, you had to have a bunch of shit, but it wasn't about, the looks. It was about the music. So I was able to dive into that and build confidence and realize that it didn't matter what, just like at work, it didn't matter what I looked like as long as I performed well. So I battled for a very, very long time. It was probably until I was like, probably until almost late 20s, early 30s, where I struggled with the feelings of not being good enough and always feeling down, being in a packed club and feeling all alone, or being at a family function and being all alone because I couldn't tell them how I was feeling because, you know, in their mind, which I don't blame them for, or they were just at one point. I remember my mom saying like, "How can you be sad? You're alive. You made it." And that makes so much sense to me. Like I understand. Like I'm alive. I survived. I made it when all odds were against me. But that didn't that was like a small win, huge win, but in my mind it was a small win because that life altering event changed my perception of myself, and it made me depressed, and it made me insecure, and it made me feel not good enough. It, it did, and so um, I probably I used to search out people who were in pain or depressed because I knew how it felt. And like I would try to help them out of their depression. And then as soon as they built self confidence, they'd start looking down on me because mine wasn't up. But I didn't understand at the time that I was purposely looking for negative relationships to build somebody else up because I thought it would build me up and my self esteem up. And then I realized that that just isn't feasible. It's not realistic. Um, and so then I started searching out positive people, motivated people, people who were trying to do things and that's what helped me get out of that depression and get out of that funk. So when people ask me like, why do you do what you do? Why do you talk about the things you talk about? Why do you make the videos that you make? And I do it to, it's like self care. I do it to help me, but I also do it to possibly either A, motivate somebody else to do something that they're afraid of, or B, um, help somebody else who's battling and struggling the same way I was, and they didn't feel like they had an outlet. Because I didn't feel like I had an outlet for so many years because it's not like I grew up. It's not like my family was poor. It's not like nothing was against me except for that. Like I had every opportunity in the world pretty much handed to me. Um, I uh, I was pretty talented. I was pretty gifted, but I felt miserable because every time I looked in the mirror, I didn't love what I saw. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't love what was looking back at me because it wasn't the same as it was when I was getting all the compliments and all that stuff, and oh, you're so sexy, or ooh, you're handsome. Oh, it stopped. So I got caught in a funk for like 10 years, maybe longer. It was probably longer. So I just want you guys to know that you're not alone. And, I'm here for you. And my people are here for you. because I don't want people to think that there's no hope. There's no way out, because there's always hope and there's always a way out. Whether it be, find other positive and motivating people, or um, people that just want to sit there and be in your company, because there is people like that. So I struggled very hard with depression for a long time, and nobody knew it because I hid it so well. There's so many people that battle with stuff that, um, and nobody will say it. No, they won't talk about it because they feel guilty for talking about something that they shouldn't be feeling. Because I didn't feel like I should be feeling that way. I felt embarrassed and guilty that I was feeling the way that I was feeling, because I had opportunities. We weren't broke. I had a good family. I had good support systems. I had really good friends. Like one of my best friends in the world. Like when people would like go do, like one of my friends would go do like the Cedar Point thing or whatever, and I couldn't do it. Like he'd hang back and hang out with me. You know what I'm saying? We just go drive around. And that shit meant the world to me. So that's my struggle. And if you guys made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you. I love you guys. Thank you for listening to me and my story and my struggle with depression. And just remember, if you ever need anything, just drop me a line, comment, call me, text me. If you know me, it is what it is. It's your boy Brian Esch, aka the Handsome Fister, and I'm out. Peace.